What if the first $20,000 you save is the hardest money you'll ever earn, and everything after that starts working harder than you do? Most people think the opposite. They think the first $20,000 is small, insignificant. They think real change begins at $100,000 or $1 million. But in reality, something much more powerful happens right after that first milestone, and almost no one notices it. Let's imagine someone very ordinary. Daniel is 28. He lives in Chicago, or maybe it's Sofia in Madrid. The details change, but the math doesn't. They earn about $65,000 a year in the US. After taxes, health insurance, and deductions, that's roughly $4,000 per month. In Europe, maybe it's 45,000 euros a year. After tax, closer to 2,700 euros, 3,000 euros per month. Now let's look at where it goes. Rent, $1,600. Car payment, $350. Insurance, $180. Student loans, $300. Groceries, $400. Utilities and phone, $250. Subscriptions, gym, streaming, $120. Going out, small trips, lifestyle spending, $500. We're already close to $3,700. That leaves maybe $300 a month in theory. And in practice, often less. So when Daniel or Sophia finally manage to save $20,000, it doesn't happen quickly. It takes years of discipline, skipped vacations, side work, saying no when friends say yes, and when they hit $20,000, they feel relief. But here's where something subtle happens. The system starts trying to take it back. Because at $20,000, you begin to look stable. Your credit score improves. Banks offer better credit cards. Car dealerships approve you for higher financing. You feel financially responsible, and that's when lifestyle quietly upgrades. The car gets newer, the apartment gets bigger, vacations become slightly more expensive. The phone gets replaced annually instead of every 4 years. Nothing extreme, nothing irresponsible, just slightly better. And here's the hidden flaw. Let's say Daniel upgrades his car. Instead of a $350 payment, it becomes $550. That's $200 more per month, $2,400 per year. If that $200 had been invested instead at a modest 7% annual return, over 20 years, it becomes about $105,000. Not because of brilliance, just because of time, but lifestyle inflation doesn't feel dangerous, it feels deserved. Psychologically, this is called hedonic adaptation. We normalize improvement very quickly. The first time you save $20,000, you feel powerful. 6 months later, it feels average, and average feels uncomfortable. So we unconsciously raise our baseline spending to match our new identity. I'm not broke anymore. I make good money now. I deserve better. None of these thoughts are irrational. They're human, but financially they're expensive. Here's the shift that most people miss. Before $20,000, every dollar you save feels like survival. After $20,000, every dollar you save becomes leverage. Let's look at simple math. $20,000 invested at 7% earns about $1,400 in a year. That's $116 per month. It's not life-changing. But now imagine you don't increase your lifestyle. You keep your spending stable and invest $500 per month. After 10 years at 7%, you're around $110,000. After 20 years, roughly $260,000. After 30 years, over $600,000. And notice something important. In the later years, the account grows by more than your annual contributions. Your money begins growing faster than your effort. That transition is the real change after $20,000. It's not about the number. It's about crossing from manual income only into income plus momentum. But most people interrupt momentum right when it begins. They think, I've done well, I can relax, and relaxation turns into permanent higher fixed expenses. Higher fixed expenses create fragility. A job loss becomes terrifying. A recession feels personal. You feel stuck because your lifestyle now depends on constant income. Meanwhile, financially intelligent people don't look very different externally. They don't necessarily earn dramatically more. They just think differently about fixed costs. When they reach $20,000, they don't see spending capacity. They see optionality. Optionality means if I lose my job, I have time. If I want to switch careers, I have space. If markets drop, I can invest more. They protect that flexibility almost aggressively, not because they're extreme, but because they understand something simple. Wealth is not about what you can buy, it's about how long you can survive without panic. After $20,000, everything changes even more because you finally have a base, and a base compounds. But compounding only works if you don't keep raising the floor beneath you. The real danger isn't poverty, it's subtle lifestyle creep disguised as progress, and here's the calm truth: you don't need to live minimally forever. You don't need to reject comfort, but the moment your spending grows at the same speed as your income, compounding never gets traction, and traction is everything. In your 20s and 30s, $20,000 feels small compared to home prices and retirement numbers. But mathematically, it's the seed. If you protect it, it becomes freedom in your 40s. If you inflate your lifestyle around it, it disappears into normalcy. Nothing dramatic happens immediately. That's why it's so easy to ignore. But 10 years later, the difference between the two paths is not subtle. One person feels increasingly secure. The other feels increasingly trapped despite earning more. So maybe the real question isn't, how do I make more money? It's, what happens after I prove I can save it? Because after $20,000, everything does change. Not because you're rich, but because you're finally in a position where your decisions compound. If this helped you think a little more clearly about your own trajectory, consider subscribing for more calm, rational conversations about money.